I did not think that being 70 would be like this because I have worked hard all my life.
We don't have a savings account anymore, and our credit scores are tanked.
Carol died in 2021, but Gary's love for her lives on. Unfortunately, so do the medical bills. Gary still owes $80,000.
For decades, boomers were told that if they worked hard, saved a little, and played by the rules, retirement would be their reward. Here we are in 2025, and millions are discovering that their golden years aren't golden at all. They're broke, working past 65, and wondering how the dream of retirement turned into a nightmare of medical bills and debt. This first video is of a 70-year-old working just to survive.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
My name is Olivia Marino Carlson. I'm 70 years old. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I cannot afford to retire. I live off of Social Security, which does not pay all my bills. That's why I'm looking for work. My husband was a mechanic. He developed MS. I took care of him until he passed away. I was working retail, lifting boxes. It was very hard. I'm going to the library to use the internet to look for work. I did not think that being 70 would be like this. I'm asking if there's any positions or work positions available here.
We don't have anything open right now, but keep an eye on it.
I put in an application here at Walgreens. I haven't heard back, so I'm going to check to see what's going on. They don't have an update on my application. The cost of food has gone up. Every time I blink, it goes up. I get better prices here.
You chose me $10.25?
This is where I have a Bible study.
We thank you so much for this evening.
There are times when I do feel like giving up, and coming to this group helps me continue on.
Good. Right.
My greatest obstacle right now is being able to support myself. It is hard for me just to survive. I wish people in power would think more with their heart. It is hard for me to accept that I'm not able to enjoy the rest of my life because I have worked hard all my life.
That was so sad. Somebody says, people don't want us elderly. This is why we have a family home. My mom, my brother, who has a TBI, me and my husband and my niece with her family, we are a family of 8. If we did not combine our resources, my mother and everyone else would be in similar circumstances. That's great for people who are able to do that, who have the family to do that and the resources. How many people don't have the family or the resources to do that? And she took care of her husband with MS before he died. She didn't even mention the medical debt that probably put them in. Another comment says, billionaires need to pay their fair share. The American dream, ladies and gentlemen. As George Carlin said, you would have to be asleep to believe it. The second video is a homeless veteran who survives by sleeping on church steps.
What I do is use my military experience to survive, to keep myself clean, to keep nothing is 100% guaranteed. There's no such thing as being out here and you're safe. But what I can do is the people that surround me is bring out the honor in everything. To understand that no one steals from no one. And if you catch someone doing it, immediately come forward with it.
Now we've met last night.
Yeah.
I usually ask people where they sleep, but I met you here last night.
I sleep here.
It's the church steps.
This is the only church in New York, probably in a whole America, that went to court that we should sleep on their stairs. To say that we can sleep on their stairs.
Because the city wanted to remove you.
Of course. The city wants to arrest you on sight.
Can you imagine if every church in the United States, which there are a lot, could you imagine if they actually acted like that church and fought for the homeless instead of these mega churches and these dirty pastors getting wealthy off their congregants who are struggling to survive, sleeping around with people everywhere? I cover this on my documentary channel all the time. You will not see a church like that on my channel because that is actually a church doing what it's supposed to do. It is so disgusting. That is how the wealthiest country on earth treats its veterans. It reminds me of that time a few years ago when Jon Stewart went and just raised hell because certain politicians were trying to remove benefits from the veterans. That was a great moment in time.
This mother thinks that this bill is bull. And it has a $400 million bill. So you tell him that it's bull. That there's a $400 million pork thing in there. You tell them. These people have suffered for 15 years because you're a troll. You're a troll. Not in good faith. I'm for the bill. You're not in good faith.
I love Jon Stewart. I do. This next one is an 80-year-old man who is working as a grocery bagger trying to pay off his late wife's medical bills.
Hello, Gary. Anyone who goes to the Smith's Market on Bluff in St. George knows Gary Sailing, the kind 80-year-old bagger. Something people may not realize is Gary once bagged groceries for Betty Davis. I'm Fox 13 Southern Utah News reporter Chris Reed. These days, Gary is bagging for the love of his life, and the St. George community is starting to take notice. Gary first worked as a grocery bagger back in high school in California. He never expected to pick it up again at this age. His life's work was in architecture.
Now, was she pretty or what?
And his love was his wife, Carol. They met at a stoplight back in 1991.
The exact instant we both raised our sunglasses at the same moment.
Turned out they had been going to the same store to pick up coffee for decades. And when the wife of the store's owner found out,
She comes around the corner and she's crying. And she goes, Gary, are you telling me you finally ran into Carol? We fell in love with each other on the bench because we ended up sitting there for 3 hours.
that love lasted right through January 2017 when Carol, an artist, was diagnosed with sundowner syndrome, a form of dementia. They moved to be near a neurologist in southern Utah.
The neurology was covered by Medicare. What wasn't covered was the promise that I kept, that I would keep her at home.
Carol died in 2021, but Gary's love for her lives on. Unfortunately, so do the medical bills. Gary still owes $80,000.
I saw Gary bagging groceries and I thought, what's this guy? Why is this elderly man still here?
Duana Johnson runs a small ministry in town. She organized the Gary Sailing donation account at the State Bank of Southern Utah that people can donate to. There's also a Venmo account.
So we started a fundraiser and people have been messaging saying that they see him all the time and they really love him. He's always nice, he's always kind, he's always like, you know, greeting them and smiling.
There is no way I'm a hero. I am not an angel, and I'm certainly not a saint. I made the promise to keep her at home and never put her in a nursing home because I took vows.
From St. George, Chris Reed, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The first thing that kind of struck me as like, oh, I don't like this, is that it felt like they were trying to spin this into like a feel-good story. Like, oh, the community came together. Miss me with that. I think that is disgusting. I love that the community came together to help him, but a community shouldn't have to come together to just help an 80-year-old man survive. I mean, especially after he took care of his dying wife. This man is a saint, and those people who helped him are wonderful as well, but it shouldn't have to be like this. GoFundMes are not a sustainable solution. What kind of fresh hell is this? The United States is like, oh, your spouse just died? Cool, get back to work. You're sick? Cool, get back to work. You're disabled? Oh, cool, you're gonna work overtime this week. I mean, and then they wonder why we're not having children. Maybe it's because we look at people like Gary and then think, wait a minute, there's a possibility that I could be taking care of my dying spouse, and then once they die, I'm left with their $80,000 $80,000 medical bill? And you want me to have children and you're not going to help me with daycare, which can cost over $2,000 a month? No, thank you. I will opt out. Welcome to land of the fee. Some of the comments say, working at 80 to pay off medical debt. The greed of a few increases the suffering most. Make America decent again. Being stuck with $80,000 in medical debt and working a minimum wage job at his age to pay it off is a crime. No one should have to be in his position. He is right. He is not a hero. He is a victim of a society failing. What are we doing to people?
Yeah, we all need to be concerned, and you all need to be concerned as younger Americans. It is very easy to have a good job and end up in my predicament at my age, which is 59, where you don't have any savings to retire, and you know, it's a struggle to pay bills, and considering that a bag of chips is as much as an hour minimum wage pay is pretty messed up. But anyway, we all have to, you know, think about solutions, and solutions aren't billionaires running our government, for sure.
Ageism is real. Finding a job gets harder the older that someone gets. Ageism is just so bad in the United States. Here are some stats for you. 62% of workers aged 50 and over believe older workers face age discrimination. 26% of U.S. workers aged 50 and older reported being subjected to age-related remarks in the workplace over the past 6 months. Moreover, over 93% say ageism in the workplace is a regular occurrence. A 2024 AARP study found that 64% of workers over the age of 50 have seen or experienced age discrimination. Minority groups report even higher numbers, 74% for Black, 62% for Latino, and 67% for Asian American. Some of the comments say, I retired at 58 and worked for a good company for 37 and a half years. I am blessed to have a good pension and Social Security. I'm honestly happy for them. I think that that's how it should be for everyone, but we don't live in that reality anymore, and this person is so very lucky. I don't even know anyone with a pension. This is incredible for them. I'll be working till the day I die. My divorce attorney lost $229,000 in marital assets that I was counting on to buy some small real estate, but now I'll have nothing, so I work till the day I die. I don't know about their specific situation, but this is common. As people age, a lot of people just like to say, oh, you should have saved more. I'm not saying that some people didn't live outside of their means. Of course they did, but a lot of people did live within their means, and then as they aged, they had a divorce, they had an accident, they had an illness or injury, and we are all just one accident, illness, or injury away from being homeless in the United States. A lot of people don't like to talk about that, but it's the truth. I know online a lot of people just like to blame the boomers for everything. The boomers did have the access to the most resources out of all of the other generations alive today. There are a lot of boomers who did everything right, how they were supposed to. Now they're not able to retire. It's just really scary. It's sad because it means it's worse for the rest of us. And I know the internet would love for me to just be like, the boomers made all this happen, yada yada. I just think we need to see more of the nuance in the situation. So this video says, I have no faith in our government anymore. I was in an Uber today and I asked this older man, why isn't he just home relaxing today? In which he told me the cost of living is so expensive, a lot of senior citizens can't even afford to retire. So he's stuck not only taking care of himself, but his wife and his grandchildren because his retirement won't cover all of them. That's another thing that happens with people besides, you know, divorce or injury or accident. They are having to take care of other family members, and that can put them in the hole because we have no safety net in the United States. One of the comments says, yep, my friend was a CNA for over 20 years, retired, and cost of living is too high and had to take on a job. Also a single mom of 4, grandma of 3. My dad has passed on and my mom lost $1,000 in income. She's 73 doing DoorDash and taking care of a man in his 90s. So she's working 2 jobs at 73 years old. That is a tragedy and a failure of the system. The fact my uncle is in his 70s, retired in Florida, and is forced to work at Burger King 5 times a week because his and his wife's pensions don't cover the bills. And that's where we are. Speaking of fast food, here is a video of an 82-year-old Vietnam vet working at McDonald's.
The 82-year-old Vietnam veteran says he has been working since his early 20s.
I helped my dad when I was younger, doing stuff for him, and then I worked at the test site for 26 years as a radiation monitor.
In 2009, he began working for McDonald's.
I restocked the soda station, which is lids, napkins, straws, and then I sweep and mop the floor.
He says throughout his various jobs, he was never able to save or invest in his retirement. According to AARP, about 1 in 4 seniors have no retirement savings. The 82-year-old hopes to someday retire, but for now, he will just keep telling his punny jokes.
Tell the kids, what do you call a bear with no teeth? Gummy bear.
It's adorable that he is able to tell jokes, but an 82-year-old working at McDonald's and hoping to someday retire is infuriating.
We didn't realize that Social Security would be so little.
Most of my debt has accumulated with things beyond my control. It's not like we go to Vegas and have a great time and run our credit card up, but we've always needed them as well when we fell on hard times.
I missed one payment on the credit card, and it just ballooned. Within 6 months, it completely doubled.
The Federal Housing Administration gave us a loan. The interest rate back then was 13 3/4, and it just grew so fast. Eventually, our loan was so big we couldn't manage it, and we ended up moving off of the farm.
Now we've had to go into thousands of dollars of credit card debt to pay our bills. We don't have a savings account anymore, and our credit scores are tanked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will it go off if I put it on airplane mode? Will it ding ding? I've learned that in matters of finance, you have to make decisions without being overly emotional.
I don't even drive by my old farm. It's really a very negative part of my life when I see what we could have had.
I have always offered financial help to friends to help them get through a difficult time, not realizing I was less fortunate too.
When you get to our age, it's a little late in the game to try to fix it because the damage is already done. So if you're young and you're working, don't be afraid to put back an extra $20 a week or whatever and don't touch it.
I love that they're sharing this advice. We need more of it. And I think that showing pictures from when they were younger is super powerful because nobody who's young today thinks that they're going to be in that predicament when they're older. And seeing that, it's just eye-opening. This goes to show that relying on Social Security is not a solid plan. For example, let's take the typical boomer who worked their whole life at an average middle-class wage. Today, their Social Security check would be about $2,000 a month, which sounds okay until you realize the median rent for a one-bedroom rental in the U.S. is about $1,600, groceries add another $500, and seniors average around $500 per month on healthcare. That's already $2,600 in monthly expenses, and that's before gas, utilities, or emergencies. In other words, Social Security alone doesn't even cover the basics of modern middle-class life. The one thing we can guarantee as we age is more medical problems, and in the U.S., with for-profit healthcare, those can completely bankrupt you. This next video is of an unhoused woman living in a tent because the government is unable to find her housing.
Hi, just wanted to give you another update. I'm here at my campsite right here. I did find me a heater, which it's right here for my tent. Now I got to figure out how to get some propane for it, but at least it's a step in the right direction. So far, all the resources have helped me find houses. Still, there's nothing out there. I'm just amazed at how many people are living in tent, and it just saddens me, you know, to see. Especially, there's a veteran that's staying out in a tent on the other end of town, and he can barely walk, and so it's not just me. I know that. But I just wanted to give an update. I'm really tired, wore out. My health isn't the greatest, and well, that's it for right now.
So many people would want to look at this woman and say, you should have saved your money. That's why you're in the situation you're in. But that's like telling millennials and Gen Z today, you just need to save your money. That's why you're struggling. When no, all of our generations are struggling. People are putting basic necessities onto credit cards because the cost of everything keeps going up because these corporations are getting greedier and greedier. According to Investopedia, research shows that the federal minimum wage peaked in real inflation-adjusted terms, offering the most purchasing power relative to living standards. Since then, its real value has steadily declined. By 2025, the federal minimum wage remains at $7.25 an hour, unchanged since 2009, and falls well below any realistic living wage benchmark. So Americans have not been able to live on minimum wage, which is what it was initially intended to do, since 1968. So I know that a lot of people would love to blame her for living in a tent. In most circumstances, this is a systemic failure, not a personal one. Okay, but let's end on a little bit of a happier note because I know that this video has been very heavy.
Hey boss, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. I'm gonna be leaving. Oh, did you get another job? No, I'm dying. I'm gonna die because that's the only way I'm getting out of here. Oh boss, you remind me of my eldest grandson because you are my eldest grandson. It's the only way I got this job. No, I can't get this done before EOD, but I can get it done before EOL, if that's okay. Yeah, what's EOL? End of life, end of my life, which will be next Friday, if that works. Hey, has anyone seen my shareholder value? Where's my shareholder value? I swear to... I need to find my shareholder value. Yes, hi, HR. I would like to file a formal complaint. Every single bathroom in this office has diaper changing stations for babies. Not one of them has diaper changing stations for adults. And quite frankly, I find this offensive, okay? Every single bathroom is gender neutral. It's for all genders. It should also be for all diapers.
And that's going to do it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and maybe we'll check out one of these two videos on screen next to me, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.